Hello and welcome back to another action-packed episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the LSU Tigers versus the Florida Gators is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm ready to talk some football. It's Monday morning, bright and early, 8 a.m., talking some college football. What gets better than that, man? Two great SEC teams duking it out this upcoming week. LSU going up against Florida. It's going to be a good matchup, man. I can't wait to get into it and dive into the details.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching, make sure that you like, share, and comment on our show and listen to our new podcast. We've been running it for a little over a year now, and we've been seeing it grow like crazy. And that's all because of you. But what we really want to see is it grow even more. So please, by word of mouth, tell your friends, family, your uncle, your sister, your mom, your kids, anybody in your family, any of your coworkers about our football show, 100 Yards of Football, because it's all you that has helped us to grow so quickly and so well in the last year. And we're so thankful to you, and we can't wait to bring you even more games. So without further ado, Mr. Logan Landers, tell us, LSU Tigers versus the Florida Gators. What do we have to look forward to?
Well, let's talk about this, man, because LSU, they've had a rocky road the last couple of seasons. Ever since they won that national championship, it just seems like they haven't been able to get back on track. At the moment, they are 3-3 on the year, so right at 500. They were against Kentucky last week, who've been really just looking tremendous so far this season. Kentucky's undefeated at 6-0 right now, so a lot of people didn't see that coming, and they've got a lot of momentum on their side. But for LSU, they're just still trying to get their feet back on the ground, trying to get everything back looking good. They lost last week 42-21 against Kentucky. Max Johnson, 22-38, one touchdown, 261 yards. You like to see him maybe getting a touchdown or two in there, but overall a pretty fair game for him. The rushing game looked really good. Tyrion Davis-Price, 22 carries for 147 yards with 2 touchdowns, so he looked good. The receiving core, Kayshon Boutte, 8 catches for 73 yards, and then Malik Neighbors had a touchdown. But, other than that, the defense, there wasn't a whole lot of being played. They gave up 42 points. Damon Clark got 14 tackles on the day. They had 1 sack as a team, and they only had 3 tackles for losses. So, you can really see that the offense is trying to get there, but the defense is just not up to par yet. Kentucky, Will Levis had a good day, 14-17 for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, while he didn't throw for a lot, he was able to just pick them off and really just pick and choose where he wants to get the ball and got it into the end zone. They ran for 330 yards, Kentucky did. So you can see that LSU has some trouble against the run and even against the passing game. Because Levis only had 3 passes that weren't completed. So they got some issues on that defense. They really do. But you got to think that coming in against Florida, that they got to be a little bit more well-equipped. They got, kind of embarrassed last week. They lost by a good amount. And you got to think that they are ready to get that ship righted, get everything back on track. And we'll see if they can do that. Because Florida, they have had a few bumps in the road, but they are still a ranked team currently. They are, at the moment, the number 20th ranked team in the country. So they have had, like I said, a few bumps in the road. They are 4-2. They're not perfect, but they did have a very dominant win this past week against the Vanderbilt Commodores, and they shut them out 42-0. Emory Jones has looked tremendous this entire college football season, I believe. He's really taken another step in his game. He's really put his name on the map for a lot of draft scouts, for a lot of just people who might not have known about him. He's really had a tremendous year so far, both as a quarterback and even with his legs too, as a dual threat quarterback, which is what you love to see. Last week he went 14-22, 273 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, just 1 interception. So he looked really, really good as he has the entire season. Jones also ran the ball 5 times for 40 yards. So he put up a lot by himself, over 300 plus yards, just from what he was able to do, throwing the ball and running. Naquan Wright, 7 carries for 46 yards. They ran for 181 yards as a team. So they were able to just kind of spread the love and get everyone in there, run the ball all over the place. 2 touchdowns, thanks to Damian Pierce. And for the receiving core, Jacob Copeland led the way, 5 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Pierce had 1 touchdown also, 1 catch for 61 yards, took it to the house. So they look good all around. They shut out Vanderbilt. They were supposed to. They did. And they looked really good. Rashad Torrance II led the way with 15 tackles on the day. So he looked great. As a team, they had 3 tackles and 6 tackles for losses. So they look great. Anytime you shut out a team, you always have a lot of confidence going into your next week's game. Trey Dean III and Daquan Newkirk both had interceptions. So they were looking absolutely dominant, as they should have been. They were supposed to beat Vanderbilt. They beat Vanderbilt single-handedly. They looked really, really good. And, when I look at these two teams, I see LSU, who's kind of struggled this year, and Florida, who has looked good in moments, and then sometimes they don't come up, they don't come out to play as well, or they just lose a tough one. But when I go against these two teams, when I see how they're going to match up, they're going to be in LSU. They're going to be down there in Louisiana. So, those fans are going to be really excited to see them play. Actually, you saw before that LSU was going to remove their COVID protocols for fans at Tiger Stadium. So they're going to open up the stadium, get some more fans in there. And, man, it's going to be rocking down there at LSU. They're going to need all those fans, though, to give them their support, give them their love, and see if they can pull off this upset against a ranked team. Can they do it? I don't think so, Jeremiah. I don't think they're just there quite yet. The LSU defense, I don't trust it right now. They haven't looked sharp the whole season. Florida, they have a better pass. They have a better offense, I believe. Emory Jones has looked really well. And if I had to go with the final score of this one, I think Florida will pull out the win in this one. If I had to go with the final score, I'll go Florida. Let's go with Florida 42, and I'll go LSU 21. And so I think Florida they're going to be even for about a half, I believe. But after halftime, I think that's when Florida is really going to pull away with this one and get the win in this. So, hey, if you're an LSU Tigers fan, it's all right. It's just those growing pains. It's all of your. A lot of people left the program the last few years. That won that national championship. And it's not like it's the NFL. You got to get new stars every few years. And LSU's just going through that right now. They're still trying to find the right system in place, the right players to go with. But I think, LSU's always been a really good program for college football. And it's not like they're it's not like they're horrible or anything. But I think that, sooner rather than later, they'll get back to their dominating ways and they'll get back into that ranking system really soon. But Florida, I think they're going to get that momentum going. And I think this is how you kick it off. Like you say, you did really well against Vanderbilt. You got a tougher opponent here at LSU. I think they'll get the win in this one and keep that momentum going for the Swamp and for all the Gator fans out there.
I definitely could not agree more. This is going to be one of those LSU versus Florida games of lore, like one of those that we've waiting for season after season. And I really feel like, like you said, there is some rebuilding to be done. But, these two teams are teams that, do not slack and have been really pushing it for the last couple of years to get where they, get back to a great spot. Florida has been putting in work for a few years now to really build back from, when they had a kind of a lull, in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. That has not been the case from 2020 on into 2021. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see how this game goes. Anybody watching, tell us what you think in the comments. What will be the final score for the game? Do you think that the Florida Gators will rock it out? Do you think that the LSU Tigers will be able to pull it out and come from behind? It definitely could happen. I could totally see it going either way. And I totally am just excited to be watching some SEC football like this, and really just rocking it out with the people in the stands, at the tailgates, watching from home, listening on the radio. There's nothing like college football. Well, everybody watching, thank you so much for listening to us on our podcast and for watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But if you're not on our podcast yet, come over and join us over at 100 Yards of Football, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including on Spotify, over on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, on the Believe Podcast Network, over at Art19, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can listen to us every single day. And we have over 300 episodes, including hundreds of episodes that are amazing interviews with classic players, break down story games. We're going to be here with you for years to come, and we've been here for you for years, and we just do this out of love, out of passion for the game, and with an incredible team, including our original host that founded it all over 10 years ago, Vincent Mr. Football Turner, and 12-time NFL veteran, Mr. Bobby Butler, our coaching expert, Kevin Bull Jones, and of course, our classic host, Mr. Logan Landers, who every Monday brings you the amazing sports breakdowns for the teams, for previews, and we go into the interviews with players. Mr. Landers, thank you so much for everything that you do for the show, actually, because these shows are super informative and we keep our audience engaged, and we are always here for you every single week with these shows, and couldn't be happier with that. So for our whole team, I am Jeremiah Long, the producer, and you've been listening to our host, Logan Landers, break down LSU versus Florida in our college football preview. We're going to be back a little while with just another live episode.